I'm a pediatrician. I've spent my life healing children. So when my daughter, Soraya, was born, I knew something wasn't right. And that began a 13-year diagnostic odyssey. Every test came back negative until one didn't. She has a rare genetic condition, a deletion of the TAOK1 gene. Her disease is so rare that there are only about 50 known cases in the world. Hers, the most severe. From age 3 to 9, she grew. She gained skills. She walked with braces, had a gastrostomy tube to help her gain weight. She talked. She went to school. So we adjusted our expectations. We told ourselves, we can do this. We planned for a life that looked different, but still full. Until it wasn't. At 9, during a routine breathing test, I noticed her chest wall wasn't moving. And that was the beginning of her decline. During this period, my husband and I did what many people do. We bargained. We created what I now like to think of as the ladder of grief. It started with, just as long as she doesn't need a ventilator, then she did. Just as long as she doesn't need a wheelchair, then she did. Just as long as she can keep going to school, then she couldn't. Just as long as she can make it to the bathroom, and now we have a bedside commode by her side. One rung after another, we climbed down to a reality that we never wanted. People tried to help. They said things like, "At least your marriage survived. At least she's verbal. At least she's alive." Now 14, Soraya's in hospice. And I've wanted to just collapse under the weight of it. I wanted to pretend like it wasn't happening. I wanted to hold my breath and just get through it. But I know that's not the answer. I mean, we tell ourselves that once we get past this hard thing, this year, this job, this loss, then we can start again. Anyone who's watched a parent age, who's felt a marriage ending, who's seen their child grow up and away from them, knows this feeling. We're waiting for something to be over. I was taught this long before I became a parent. In medical school, we called it delayed gratification. Bury your head in the books, just get through it. I can remember sitting in coffee shops from opening to close, surrounded by empty coffee cups, highlighters that bled through the pages, mnemonics that filled my brain to help me memorize anatomy just to live for the next exam. And to do that on repeat. We'd tell each other, you can do anything for 4 years. And then residency, working 80 hours a week, missing the weddings, the birthdays, the moments that matter. You'll have later to live. But now, I know, there is no through. Life and love are happening at the exact same time as the hard. And the hard, like grief, isn't something to finish. It isn't something to solve. It isn't something that disappears. It stays because it's a reflection of love. So, the question became, if there is no through, then how do I live knowing my child is dying? The answer began with an experience. Soraya loved being in the water, the beach, the ocean. It was the one place where everything seemed to settle. On land, her body was heavy. Movement was hard, measured, limited. But in the water, as she would say, she was free. She moved easily, gliding instead of struggling. She'd flip upside down, do handstands, with her laughter just bubbling up in the waves. She said she loved the way the water felt on her skin, the lightness of it. In the water, she looked like other children. It was hard to tell she had a disability. It was one of the few places that her and her two sisters could meet as equals, splashing, playing, just being kids together. And while Soraya loved being in the water, she had never been on a surfboard. So that was her wish. And sure enough, we were offered a trip through Make-A-Wish. And I felt two things at once: grief that my daughter even qualified, and fear for how we could even make that happen. Getting her there seemed impossible. The ventilator, the equipment, the logistics. Honestly, I was dreading it. But then, there she was. Out on the water, up on the board, just riding a wave. And our whole family was on the beach, just sobbing. Ugly crying. All of us. I had never experienced a joy like this before. Knowing her body was failing, it didn't make the joy smaller. It magnified it. I had been so focused on getting through the grief that I stopped looking for anything else. That moment changed something for our family. We declared a family motto: suck the joy out of life. It sounds aggressive, and it is, because there are parts of our life that suck. And we're not ignoring that. We're choosing deliberately to reach in and pull joy out anyway. I'm clear on what matters now that I know that time is not guaranteed. First, I let go of the idea of getting through. Because when we're focused on getting through something, we're not really present. We're waiting. We're waiting for something to be over. And while we're waiting for the pain to end, we miss the joy that is already here. Second, I've let go of delayed gratification. I stopped pushing life into the future because there is no after this. There is only now. And third, I have had to remind myself that grief doesn't diminish joy. It intensifies it. Because when we know that something is fleeting, it makes everything more precious. So here's what I want to leave you with. There is no through. There is no moment where the hard thing ends and life begins again. This, the messy, the heartbreaking, the beautiful in between is life. So the question is, will you allow yourself to live inside it? Joy doesn't wait for grief to finish. It shows up right in the middle if you let it. Thank you.